Alright, hello everyone, this is Adam Veazie from PC Cleric Computers and Games. Just gonna run through a demo on what I think is a great piece of open source software. If you're not familiar with the open source software concept, it is software that is open and free for you to use, whether for home or business. It's really great. It's really a great concept. So just to give you like a compare and contrast, Microsoft Windows is a licensed piece of software. You have to have that Windows license to use Windows legitimately. Open source software like Linux and what have you, you can download Linux. You can install it on 300 computers if you want to. You do not need a license for it. All right, now the learning curve on Linux is quite a bit steeper than it is with Windows, but you know, them's the breaks. If you want it for free, there you go. You're gonna pay for it, you know, in blood, sweat, and tears. But the piece of software I'm going to show you today is not Linux, but it can run on Linux. What I have is I have 3 virtual machines. They are all running Windows 10. I have Openfire. I'll explain what Openfire is in a second. And then I have 2 client machines, just 2 basic workstations running. I have no passwords set up or anything like that, just for ease of demo. In real life, you want to at least have a password on your machine. So the piece of software that we're going to learn about is called Openfire. All right, the website that we're going to go to is www.igniterealtime.org. And when you go to that website, let me close out of Java there. There we go. It takes you to the home page for igniterealtime.org. And the first thing you see is this big yellow, or excuse me, orange download button. You click on that button, and it takes you to the downloads page. The first thing we're going to download is the program Openfire. You pick whichever platform you're using, Windows, Linux, or Mac. When you click, like when I click on Windows, I'm presented with 4 or 5 options here. I'm going to pick the one that is bundled with the Java runtime environment. Easiest way to do it. A little bit of a bigger download, but in today's broadband era, who cares? All right, so I'm going to click that. Once I click that, I am going to go to my downloads folder. There we go. And I am going to double click on the executable that I just downloaded. And this is kind of, yeah, smart screen, whatever. It's just kind of a, really not really a next finish. Don't rush through it. But we're going to take some time to look at what we need to look at. And there's your standard green bar going across the screen to prepare to install Openfire. Now there's 2 parts to the Openfire, or to the software here. The first one is Openfire. Yes, English, yes, thank you. And the second part is Spark. Spark is the client. There's user access control asking me if I really want to do it. Sure do. And then there is Spark. Spark is the client piece of software. That's what the users are going to interact with. The Openfire software is the back end of the software. So you should only have to install Openfire once, and then you have to install Spark on whatever workstations you want to put the software on. Don't go around installing Openfire everywhere. It won't do you any good. Next, there we go. We got to accept the license agreement. Next. All right, now here's one thing. I am not going to put this in my programs file folder because I'm going to run this as a service eventually. In fact, I think the newer version here actually automatically installs it as a service. But if you put it in your programs files and you run into things like permissions and stuff like that, it just doesn't work good. So I'm just going to put it straight in the root of C in a folder called Openfire. And I'm going to click Next. Go create a start menu folder. Yeah, whatever. Create shortcuts for all users. Sure. And it goes through and it extracts all the files. We've seen this before if you've installed anything like Office or uh, any other program out there. Second verse, same as the first. All right. Getting this all set up here. There's a small database component to it, but nothing major. You don't have to be a DBA to do this. We're going to click Finish, and it's going to start the Openfire service for me. I'm going to minimize. Oh, actually, I can have that open there. There we go. And then this is all managed through a web browser. All right, we're going to set this up for first time. English language for me, thanks. My simplified Chinese is a little rusty, so I'm going to choose that. Domain name, server host domain name, I can change that. From that, I can just say, here we go. Openfire server if I want to. Admin console port 9090. Secure admin console port 9091 if you're using SSL, which if you're doing any type of external communication, you probably should. You can have an encryption key here. We're going to click continue there. Standard database connection, use an embedded database. There we go. We're just going to use an embedded database. If you have a standard database, like maybe you have a SQL database or something like that, but the external, the embedded database should be more than adequate for what you need. Profile settings, there we go. Store users and groups on the server database. This is the best option for simple deployments. If you have something like Active Directory or something like that, then it can be stored in the directory and treated as read-only. We're just going to do a simple deployment. There we go. New password. For purposes of demonstration, we'll just say the password is password. Don't ever do that. We'll say, yeah, admin@example.com. Will work for us for now. And we're going to click continue. Oh. Setup complete. Log in to the admin console. Here we go. Can we go admin? Oops. Password? There we go, and we're in. Alright, so this is where we can go through. We can set up stuff. It tells us how much memory we're using, things of that nature. We're going to click on the Users and Groups tab first, is what we are going to do up here. And I'm going to create a new user. Username is going to be user1. User1. Email, we don't need that. Password, we'll just make it password for demonstration purposes. Do not use this as a actual production password. If you want to make them an administrator, you can make them an administrator. We're going to create this guy and create another. That's a helpful feature. I want to say user2 is right here. And sorry, had caps lock on there for a minute. Don't know what happened. And I'm just going to create that user. Passwords do not match. Okay. Probably because I had caps lock on when I meant to press the tab key. I'm going to create that user. Okay, great. So if I go back to my user summary here, if somebody forgets their password, which they probably will, you click to edit. Can't do that. Password right here. There you go, new password, confirm it, and update the password. You're off to the races. All right, so we have the admin, which is me. We have the user1 and user2. Here we go. Groups. I'm going to create a group here. Create a new group. We'll call it group 1. We're going to create that group. Go. And we are going to, members of this group. Here we go. User 1. User 2. Add that and add that. There we go. Now, you can use the form below to automatically add this group's users to contact list. When your group will only appear in the contact list of the group's members. However, you can share this group with all members. But that's up to you. That's you can do that. You cannot do that. I'm just going to make a group real quick. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm kind of done with the server portion of this. It's kind of not that hard to set up. You might need some help with your networking people with the ports and stuff like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my first client here, and I've already downloaded the client software, the Spark software. I'm going to go to my downloads folder and I'm going to double click on that. Go. And I'll click run. And the client install is kind of a next finish type thing, but you do want to pay attention to what's going on. Just don't fly through it. Waiting for the green bar to go across the screen. And you know what? I can start this on client 2 as well. We can do because I downloaded the client to that one as well. No sense in watching the install really twice. So let's go to downloads, Spark. Here we go. And it's probably user access control. I'm just working between my two clients here. So if you're doing this kind of as like a remote install or something like that, you have multiple windows open. I'm going to click next. I'm going to leave it in program files. And I'm going to click next. There we go. And it's going to install Spark. And it's going to put a nice little icon on the desktop here. All right. There we go. Yes, do it now. All right, and I'm going to click finish, and I'm going to click run Spark and close out of that window to keep things kind of nice and neat. I'm going to get both these installations up and running here, and we're going to start chatting with the Spark software. I thought it said run it. Didn't I say run it? Maybe it's in the background? No? Okay. I'll just double click on it just to make sure. Sometimes it doesn't. There we go, username. All right. So I'm going to say user1. Password is password. Okay. And then it asks you for a domain, right? Well, the domain, which this is what you got to give to your users here. Server. Here we go. System properties. That was in the domain thing that we saw earlier on. Server settings right here. Client connections right here. Port. New. Server to server. Now we don't have any server to server components or anything like that yet. Registration login. New. We don't have any connection. Maybe it's nice to click through these things just to see what they are. A lot of times you're not really gonna mess with it. Search server properties right here. Maybe that's what we need. Nope, that's a search server. It's not to search through the properties. Let's see here. Private data storage. No. Okay, got all that. Registration and login. We got all that. Oh, look, you can even restrict login from certain IP addresses if you're doing this from the outside. If you're doing this from the outside, you might want to take a little bit more precaution, maybe is what I want to say. Profile settings. Maybe it is under server manager. Let's see here, because I didn't set the domain name. I set the server name. Maybe I can. Go. Openfire. Login. Oh, no, it was Openfire server. I'm sorry. Openfire. Nope. We set the domain name when and this is why you get so much going on. Server information do not appears to be missing or incorrect. That's perfectly okay. Okay, domain name is desktop-f8 f04f1. I missed that on the install. I apologize. Getting ready for the demo. Desktop, which in your production environment, you shouldn't have anything named vaguely like this. Login. Unable to verify certificate. Okay. Automatically detect server host. Okay, resource Spark. Blah 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 blah. Wonder what that means. Account. So here we go. Create a new chat account. We don't want to do that. Login and out. It's not going to let us do that. Nope. Okay. Maybe I can install it on this then. Give me just a sec. Server directory, 9 minutes. Okay. System properties. There's nothing you can change there. Again, this is little things that we miss when I'm talking and I'm trying to install software, which is why I don't really encourage you doing that a whole lot. Desktop, F804F1. Okay. Sorry, we seem to be having a little bit of difficulty with the demo here, but that's okay. It's nice to see people troubleshoot stuff in real time, because I hate demos that's like, oh yeah, it all works the first time through, and you know, well, not really. Unable to verify certificate. All right, I'm gonna look that up on my other monitor here. Give me just a second. To verify certificate. Advanced setting and disable certificates. Okay. Aha, disable that. Okay, so we're going to do that. Unable to verify certificate. Maybe that's not what we wanted to do. And accept all certificates. There we go. All right. The new version really wants you to push you to use SSL for security reasons, but for classroom reasons we don't need to. And that was the problem. Here we go. Now we are connected. All right. Now I'm going to go over to person 2 here. Click finish. Close out of that. Which you should be using SSL, and it's nice that this version defaults to you using SSL. For classroom purposes, we don't need to. Even if you're internal and you're doing something like law or medicine or something like that, you really should use a SSL as well. User 2, 8, here we go. And this is the name of, and I'm trying to talk and type again, it's not gonna work. 04F1. Okay, and the domain is the name of the server that we had here. So advanced. Accept all certificates, disable that. Okay, and log in. Now, we're going to put this on the back burner for just a second here. We're going to talk about the two users, right? So, I want to search, user 1 wants to search for user 2. And person search, yep. There we go. Now I can say hello. And I go over to here. And I can just have a nice little conversation with myself. Hello. There we go. And you can do a whole bunch of like neat stuff. Let's get the user's attention. Boing, you know, you need something here. View information about this user. Add this user to your buddy list. Invite to a conference. Here we go. Send files to this user. Let's say I'm going to go into Notepad here. And I'll just put some garbage data in there. And I'll save it as, I don't know, file in my documents. And I'm going to click that. And I'm going to go to my documents. Oh, wait a minute. Documents right there. Okay. And then file. Oh. Then I can send that user a file. User is offline. How is he offline? Go. Alright, so let's try to send the file again. We can send pictures. There's all kinds of neat stuff that you can actually do. You can send a picture, capture, send anything on your desktop. Maybe you're communicating with support or something like that. This is something that you might want to have. You might not want to have. This is message encryption. It's called an off-the-record conversation. You can disable that with a certain plugin. So we're chit-chatting back and forth, you know, blah, blah, blah. I hear you, you know, so you're chit-chatting back and forth. Now, what happens if you might want to monitor the conversations that are going on in your server or in your system here, right? So I'm going to close that. Actually, I'm going to close out of all these things. Oh, actually, no, I'm not, because I'm going to introduce you to the concept of a plugin. All right, a plugin is something that gives additional functionality to Openfire. And you can go to Ignite realtime.org. You can go to plugins, right? So if we go to here, we click plugins on the home page. It takes us to the plugins list. The one plugin that we're really going to concentrate on right now is monitoring service, right? It monitors conversations and statistics of the server. Each plugin has a little icon next to it, and if you click that icon, it will take you to installation instructions and what it does and stuff like that. Really useful information. All right. And the monitoring plugin adds support for chat archiving and server statistics to Openfire. It provides support for generating various reports on server statistics, as well as managing, viewing, and reporting on chat logs. So you can download this by clicking the download icon. I have already downloaded it. It tells you how to install it. There really usually is no installation. All you have to do is plop the .gar file into the plugins directory in my Openfire installation. So I'm going to go back to my downloads folder. I happen to have that. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go to my C drive, because remember we sold Openfire on the C drive. And plugins is right there. And I'm just going to paste it right there. Now, when I log back into my localhost port 9090, I don't have to log in because it saved my password. I can go to, here we go, server. Do they have an archiving? Or do I got to log in and out? I probably got to log out and back in. Let me log out and back in just to be sure. It's always good practice. There we go. There we go, archiving right there. Then what I have to do is I have to go to archive settings. There we go. Archive one-on-one, archive group, archive stanzas for group chats. Sure. I can only archive certain things if I want to. Number of minutes of conversation can be idle before it's ended, 10. Max time before it's ended, 60. You can bump that up or down depending on the needs of your organization. Maximum number of days. So you want to keep that as 0 because then it stores everything potentially forever. Number of days worth of messages a user is allowed to retrieve. Okay, so we're going to update the settings there. All right, now we can go to conversations. We have no archive conversations here because when we were talking back and forth with our AU there, yeah, I'm here, and I'm just playing the part of 2 users. You with me? So employees are talking about leaving and taking copies of software, proprietary software, data with them, and things like that. Now you can click that, go. Oh, I didn't want to click on the users. I'm sorry. Here we go. Here we go. Still not what I want. Archiving. Here we go. Conversations. Archive settings. One-on-one. Here we go. Full text. Okay. Conversations. Just give me user properties. Do I have to stop and start the service? No, I shouldn't have to, should I? Let me see. Do they have anything? All right, so archiving conversations. There we go. Archive conversations is right here. It doesn't let you see it. See, this is why it's useful to test this stuff before you do it. We don't need that. Thank you. Which is why I always test stuff, because you miss one little box and you think it's working forever. Oh, search archive. Here we go, right here. Here we go. It was in the first one right here, search archive. So participants, any date range, you can modify these parameters as you see fit. Here we go. So here we go. Hey, you there? Yeah, I'm here. I'm going to find another job. You with me? Yeah, I'll take a copy of the database before I leave. So now messages are being archived. The only thing I will say about this is that you have to have strong management where you work. Because I installed this at one place and it was running fine for about 2 weeks and everything like that. Everybody was happy with it. They're like, hey, this is the greatest thing ever. I can get a hold of somebody from another office, another department. Just instant message them. They message me back and blah, 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 blah. And then about 2 weeks, people found out that the messages were being archived. All of a sudden, it doesn't work. It slows the whole computer down. I forgot my password for the 10th time this week, and it's only Wednesday. I can't find the program. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It slows my computer down to a crawl. I cannot use it. And if you have weak management in your company, they're going to tell you they don't want to use it. They don't have to use it. You got to find something else for them to do, because people do not want their conversations monitored at all for some reason. Now, again, you got to have strong management. You can't have spineless, inept people, running things. You got to have a manager that's going to sit here and go, well, you got to use it. That's company policy. Our IT team says it's not slowing the system down at all. Quit crying. So this is a demo. We had a little bit of hiccups, but that's what happens when you deploy things. You test what you deploy before you deploy it to everyone. So we did a little bit of troubleshooting here. We looked at the Openfire server component. We installed Spark on 2 machines here, and we saw how that works. And there is even a plugin, I believe, to remove the off-the-record option. I can take a screenshot. Here we go. Here we go. And I want to take, here we go, screenshot of that and send it to him. User is offline, blah, 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 blah. Okay. There we go. It times out after a little while. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Hey, hey. All right. So, a little bit of troubleshooting that we had to do here. Of course, you got to train your users on how to use this as well. And if you do set up the monitoring component and users find out, they will be mad. They will use every bit of political influence they have to get this shut down. Okay, so again, you need management, you need leadership that's going to tell them, too bad, so sad. That's what we're using, and we have the right to monitor any and all communications in our network. You have no expectation of privacy in the workplace, so just deal with it. All right, you don't need a manager that's going to cave to every employee's wants and needs. Okay, again, my name is Adam Veazie. I am with PC Cleric Computers and Games. If you feel like you would like this set up within your organization, just give me a call and we'll take care of you. Thank you so much and have a great day.